Vicky's bookcase. I would say this is a happy day because I've done this so super early you wouldn't believe it. But this has been a total and unmitigated disaster. Oh, I don't know where to start really. I mean, you're here really to see what this is actually going to look like, and really, I've made a pig's ear of it. Absolutely a pig's ear. And also, this is super long because it's a really complex thing that I decided to do because I thought I've done super simple all year. Now I want to do something complicated. Honestly, I should have quit while I was ahead. So, let us begin with what I decided to do for this month. September is a really busy month for me, so I should also mention here that I probably won't be uploading for October because I'm actually going away for a very special holiday, and it's going to take all the time to coordinate and prepare for that. So this is it really for at least a month or so, and that will probably include November's spread because I am away for most of October. It's a really long holiday. It's a super exciting one, but that's the good news with that bit. It also gives me a chance to take a break because this video kind of shows that I think I'm a little tired. You know when you haven't had a holiday for a while? Yes, this is me being super tired and clearly not thinking things through. I should also mention I'm a dyslexic, which means sometimes if I'm super tired, I really don't think things through. Anyway, or that could be just me and my personality. It could be dyslexia, it could be personality, who knows? Just know disaster is coming. Anyway, so the theme for this month, I decided to go with something like Celtic knots, that kind of thing, because Lord of the Rings, the new TV series, is coming out in September, and it just so happens, yes, I'm going to New Zealand and go visit Hobbiton. I thought, oh, it's a nice theme to enjoy, and it does remind me of Lord of the Rings and all the kind of stylizedness of it. And I was like, yes, I'll draw Celtic knots. And this is what you can see on screen at the moment. And this is why this took me a long time. It takes a long time to try and get everything in the right place, and I still didn't do that, by the way. Spoiler alert. I think it comes in threes. And it took me to do the pencil drawing alone probably 3 to 6 hours minimum, so it's a good thing I'm not recording that because it would be a nightmare. Inking it, also, you're seeing this at 1000 times sped up, so you can tell this actually took a really long time. And having said this was a disaster, actually the pencil drawing was beautiful, minus some little minor defects, but that was fine. I can live with minor defects. The pen drawing, it was fine as well. I kind of messed up a little bit, but I was like, don't worry, I'll paint over it. It will be fine. It's fine. And it is fine. I really did like what I did. I really like the fact that the borders are nicely knotted. It's a pattern I really enjoyed. Although I have to say, I wasn't quite sure whether I should have done the knots as I did. In some ways I could have kept it simpler, and I wish I had in other ways because I hadn't realised that this was a 4-strand knot, not a 3-strand, which is why I was slightly confused. Anyway, moving on. Also to mention, I did do a more traditional tracking page rather than colouring lots of different things to make a picture. I kept it with just the normal boxes that you just colour in. Make it kind of like Lord of the Rings-esque with putting runes in for numbers, which was a lot of fun. And you'll see that very soon again. I feel like I should put some music on now instead of hearing me babble about things we haven't got to yet. But I've just remembered there is one major thing I should mention, and that's partly the reason why I'm having a break for a couple of months, is that the recording equipment that I use, it doesn't seem to want to record properly and keeps corrupting my footage, which gets a little bit frustrating. So I'm going to have a rethink about how I film my footage. So this is a side note for everybody. Oh, and also before I forget, along the lines with film footage and that kind of thing, before I go back to talking about what I'm doing, there's quite a big chunk that got corrupted. So you don't get to see my painting disaster, but I'll save that for a couple of minutes. Just be warned, we're going to jump from one bit of a chunk and then we're going to jump to the other, and I'll let you know when that happens. So moving back to what I'm doing, because you are probably going to get a bit of a rant a little later, that's because of my own tiredness or stupidity. I'm sure everybody makes these mistakes, and I know that there's some amazing YouTube artists that I'm sure probably have the same mistakes and have to start all over again. I sadly don't have time to start all over. So I live with that, and usually I'm happy in the perfection. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're not going to get into that yet. So, the artwork, what I'm doing. Still Celtic knots. I took inspiration from medieval manuscripts, quite a few medieval manuscripts. I've probably talked about this before. Have these beautiful, elaborate decorations, and as I said, I really fancied doing kind of something elaborate. And since I had time, because I'm in the middle of a reading block, if that makes sense, as in like I should be reading stuff, but I just not in the mood for it, and that's okay. Too many things where people are like, you have to do this, you really don't. And if you have a reading block, go do something else, it's fine. Just like for drawing block or painting block, maybe take a break for a little while. So what I've done with the Celtic knots, I found how to do it online. There's some fantastic YouTube videos. I also looked at Pinterest to see kind of like what kind of flavour I'd want to do it. So I have this lovely plaited look all the way around. This is going to be the tracking page, and I really love how complicated the knot looks. It looks amazing, and I really like the corner. I was in two minds about whether to just draw a square and then just draw something inside it, like another knot, but I'm glad I decided not to draw a square and then a knot inside the square and just have the knot instead, and just have it slightly more pointier. That's lovely, I really enjoyed that. And yes, I deliberately did not use a ruler for practically most of it. I think I used it on the first page, but I wanted it to be a little bit more organic. And please note that the monks that did the illuminations, or not necessarily the monks because there were others that did it too, they would have been using rulers in Jamvo. It's just me wanting it to just look a bit different, and I'm being lazy if I'm honest, especially if I should draw the tracking squares. They should be squares, but I learnt my lesson with that. I tend to forget where I'm drawing, and so it goes wonky anyway, so I might as well just do it organically. I actually honestly found doing the knots very soothing, so if you're looking for something different to try, I do suggest just trying this kind of thing, or trying tangle patterns, I think they're called, or even trying mandala drawing. I debated about whether to do a mandala drawing for this month, because I have seen some amazing pictures and tutorials on how to do mandala drawing, and if I actually manage to do something for November, I'm pretty sure I'll probably try mandala drawing, but maybe with a kind of like icy theme. We'll see. I feel inspired by doing just simple patterns sometimes, but then I remember that it's not quick. It's not quick and it's not simple. And a lot of effort is put into this. I mean, if we look at what I'm currently drawing at the moment, this is the last page of the book of the month. I decided to take the circles that I drew from the first page and just have circles in the last page, rather than having all the knots, and then I'd have ribbon, well, painted ribbon throughout the rest of it. So it kind of connects, but it's also different. I fully admit the middle two sets of pages I just kept to just Celtic knots, and my plan was to do different colours. So the drawing and the pattern itself would be throughout the whole set of pages. In some ways, I feel like I'm just building this terrible disaster up in my head. I mean, it's not a disaster, it's just painting, drawing, whatever. But to me, I'm like, I don't know why I've even bothered doing this, because it's just, Anyway, we're very close to where we do the jump now. So this is just the last of the drawing, and so what I've done with the last page as well, I drew boxes so that the writing could be seen from there. So we've kind of jumped straight to the TBR, to be read page, and the read page, rather than seeing the front page, and the front page is where the disaster happened. I started painting. I was like, oh, I only need 3 colours, it will be fine. I start painting, and then I realise, no, I don't need 3 colours, and I go so badly wrong. Don't worry, you'll get to see how badly wrong this is, because I genuinely did not have time to fix this. So this is going to be forever in the front of my journal, forever and ever. Maybe I might fix it one day, but it will remind me not to do stupid things, and I definitely did stupid things. And the thing is, I'm realising how much I keep repeating myself in my mistakes. So taking a break is good, learning from mistakes, and try not to do it again. So let's just jump into this page a second so we know what's going on, and then I'll carry on explaining what happened, because you'll see in a minute what's going on. So I decided on this page, instead of painting with my gouache or the watercolour, I decided to go with my metallic pens. They're the Great Papermate metallic set. I really love them. In fact, they're kind of running out now, which you'll probably see towards the end with the silver. And I started off with this great set of colours. I really love the colours here. And then for some strange reason, I decided to make the colours of the corner completely different, and I absolutely hate it. I'm not sure why I went with those colours, and I really wish I hadn't, because it just doesn't work at all. And I was trying to make it contrasty, because of course with me using 4 colours, see I can't even count now, 4 colours for the Celtic knot, I kind of didn't want the colours to kind of get lost in the corner, but I did fix it on the other side, which you'll see in it. But in general, the colours on this page work really well. Most of the border, just ignore the corners, and I was really pleased. The one thing I did do that was watercolour throughout this whole set is the bit where I do the writing. I decided to colour the background in my favourite blue watercolour, and I did that, although you can see that it's really patchy. And again, I do think that it must be either damp or really dry. My watercolours and my gouache were just playing up something chronic. Everything was either too dry, nothing was setting on the paper properly, the paper wasn't reacting like how it normally does, and so on and so forth. That's kind of what you missed in the huge chunk that I lost to corruption. So you kind of didn't miss very much really, other than the horror of me badly painting it all and just feeling so frustrated with how the painting was going, which is why I switched to the metallics, because they cover a lot of ground, if that makes sense, very quickly, and the coating is very even compared to the watercolors, which just made me so frustrated, because part of the reason why I did the complicated thing this month was to practice my watercolors or my gouache and getting consistent painting. Well, that was an absolute disaster. You will see the disaster. I think I've already repeated that 3 times. It's just too shocking to me. I know, it's just ridiculous. It's not really worth worrying about in many ways. So this leads to my other little problem that I had, and this happened several times, trust me, in the fact that I started off in this beautiful colour scheme on the left hand page, this beautiful gold, silver, green and blue. I loved it, fantastic. And as you can see, I changed up the colours so they actually matched the border, and that worked really well. And then I did the bottom, and for some reason I think my brain must have blipped, because I think as I was looking at the right hand side to make sure I had the colours in the right places, and I blipped and I just picked up the I think it's called rose colour, it's kind of like the red, and I just did red. So I was like, oh, I didn't even notice, this is the worst thing, I didn't even notice until I was basically colouring in the left hand side, and I was like, what? But let's be honest, when you see the front page, you'll think, oh well, doesn't matter. Still laughing at myself. So in the top of the page, that I'm quickly doing, I'm writing in a bronze coloured metallic Sharpie, just the runes. I'll know what they are, it's fairly obvious, so I'm not too worried about not being able to understand it. So we're now on the tracking page. Now you'll be happy to know this actually turned out great. I really enjoyed this page, the whole colouring. I at least realised my mistakes from the last two previous setup pages and actually managed to mostly circumvent the ones that I had here. I mean, you will notice actually a difference between the left and the right page, because when I was drawing this in, if you recall, I actually turned the book and I drew from a different side, so the pattern doesn't quite meet up like it's supposed to, but that is so minor, and really it actually really makes it nicer anyway, so I wasn't too worried about that. I was more concerned with getting the colours right, and I really like the colours on this. I really enjoyed using all those colours. I kind of wish in some ways that I had gone with the yellow rather than the bronze for that page, but overall I was really pleased with how it turned out, and to be honest, it was a relief that I managed to get through that mostly with myself intact, with no major mistakes. I'm calling this major mistakes September. It'll be fine. I just realised how long I've been waffling for. I'm sorry, I was planning on music and not speaking so much, but apparently I have a lot to say. I blame my husband. He's taught me to talk a lot, and this is the result. He won't ever watch this, so he doesn't know I'm blaming him for my ability to now talk for 17 minutes straight. Yeah, we're at the 17-minute mark. Or at least it's a 17-minute mark for you. This is probably... How long has this taken so far? I think this might have been hour 12? If I include all the pencil drawing, so you can get a realistic idea as to how long this takes, I would say I probably drew for 2 to 3 hours, then penciled. Drawing pen over that, and that would have been quicker. So probably hour and a half. Then the disaster with the painting, because the paint wouldn't go down properly, and then doing the metallics. I did most of the metallics in a morning, so I'm looking at probably easy 12 hours for this in total for this, which is really quite mad. Yeah, this has to be one of my longest, most complicated ones. I do try and keep it simple because I am working and this is a guilty pleasure, but 12 hours is a lot. It's fine. This is fine. It was worth it just to try and spread my creative wings, and you get to see the process with me, including, as I said, my disaster, which is coming up very soon. I know, I keep harping back to it, but it's just, I'm frustrated, just so frustrated. But I guess anyone who does this as well knows the frustration of just going so badly wrong that you kind of want to tear the page out and hope that it does not see the light of day. But as I remind myself, I'm not perfect. This is my opportunity to actually try and remember the mistakes I make, because I'm realising I'm terrible at remembering. So let's go back to the drawing a second. Well, more than a second. As you can see, very much more consistent in this double page, and I did the same colouring for both pages. That's because I kind of wanted to change it up in the previous page, whereas this one, actually, because I got the colouring right on one page, I was like, let's do it again. And it's really nice to see it, and it's good to know I can get something right, which sounds like I'm doing, what's it called, a Betty Downer, but it's not really. I think it's just frustration. We're on the last page now, which of course is the book of the month, and I'm afraid you will see a lot of chopping with the clips. Apologies again. I had problems with recording this Don't know why. Everything seems to be a bit sulky today. So with this last one, because we're going to focus, this is where I used the blue watercolour, and then I decided to keep it very simple. All the circles were one colour, and then I had striped alternate colours with the rest, and then I coloured the background with green and silver. I kind of wish I kept with green, but it's fine. It's fine. We all learn from this, and I learned that I use silver a lot. So we're just about ready to turn right at the beginning. Get ready, don't let your eyes get burnt out. So I'm turning the page right at the beginning, and here we are. 3, 2, 1, and yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. It's terrible. My eyes are burning. We're going to leave it like that though, because it's fine. I'll learn. Then we have the TBR on the red page, which works fine. I do like it, just maybe I need to be consistent. Chef's kiss to this one, because my tracking page actually works absolutely fine for once. And then we have the book of the month, which isn't too bad, but I wish I'd kept with the green. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing my disaster and knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect to create something. Although I've been a bit down on myself in this video, I think that I hopefully will have learned about the fact that 1, I don't remember things, 2, I need to work on consistency, and 3, yeah, I just need to work on everything all together. So this is me saying goodbye for this month, and I will see you in a couple of months' time, where hopefully I'll be nice, fresh and breezy, having learned from the mistakes I made in this and coming back stronger and more creative. I hope you have a wonderful couple of months, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.